She never expected her life to take a turn like this. One moment she was running through the dimly lit streets, her breath sharp in the night air, her heart racing as footsteps echoed behind her. The next, she did something unthinkable. She kissed a stranger. A desperate, fleeting kiss meant only to shield her from danger. But what she didn't know was that this stranger wasn't just anyone. He was someone with secrets so deep, so tangled in mystery, that this chance encounter would change both of their lives forever. The kiss wasn't out of love, nor even attraction. It was survival. She needed a distraction to keep the men following her from noticing, and in that instant the stranger played along. His grip tightened around her hand, his gaze steady, and for a moment it felt like she had stepped into another world. The pursuers melted into the crowd, fooled by the act. She was safe. At least for now, but the stranger didn't let go. Instead, he whispered words that made her blood run cold. "You don't know who I am, do you?" In daylight, the man didn't fit the image of someone who could turn her life upside down. His clothes were worn, his shoes scuffed, his face rough from nights that looked like they had been spent on the streets. To anyone else, he was just another forgotten soul, homeless, invisible, mocked by those who thought they were better. She noticed how a group of passers-by laughed cruelly at him, tossing careless insults his way. They thought he was nothing, a nobody. What they didn't see was the way his eyes burned with a quiet intensity, as if every cruel word was nothing more than a spark fueling a fire they could never understand. She felt it too, that there was something more to him, something hidden beneath the ragged exterior. And as days passed, their paths crossed again, almost as if fate was weaving them together. He told her pieces of his past, never enough to paint the full picture, but just enough to stir curiosity. Why did he always speak in riddles? Why did he seem to know far more about danger, power, and survival than anyone who lived on the streets should? It wasn't long before whispers started spreading. Some claimed he once belonged to a family so powerful that entire businesses rose and fell on their command. Others swore he had walked away from a hidden fortune, leaving everything behind after betrayal cut too deep. Every story sounded impossible, but the way he carried himself made her wonder. Was he truly just a broken man with nothing left? Or was he something far more dangerous, someone waiting for the right moment to reveal the truth? Then came the night when everything shifted. He arrived at her door, his face set in grim determination. "They won't stop until they get to you," he said. She asked who they were, but he only shook his head. Instead, he pulled from his pocket a keyhole, heavy, engraved with symbols she didn't recognize. "This isn't just about you or me. It's bigger than that. You need to decide if you trust me." Her pulse quickened. Why her? Why would a stranger who had been mocked, cast aside, suddenly make her the center of something that felt like the edge of a storm? And yet, when he said it, when he told her he wanted to marry her, wasn't he, in the tone of a desperate man chasing affection? It was deliberate, almost like part of a larger plan. He wasn't just asking for her hand, he was asking her to step into his secrets, to carry a burden that might destroy them both. The more she resisted, the more the world around her seemed to twist. Shadows followed them. Whispers of danger grew louder, and she began to realize that the men chasing her that first night weren't after her at all. They were after him, and the simple, desperate kiss, had entangled her in a web of enemies who believed she now knew too much. Every step drew her closer to the truth. She caught glimpses of ledgers, hidden accounts, and fragments of old photographs locked away in his belongings. It became clear he wasn't poor, not at all. His fortune wasn't just money, it was influence, power, and connections that could topple empires. But he had walked away from it, letting the world see him as nothing. All to protect something or someone he wasn't ready to reveal. And yet, even as the truth surfaced, more questions unraveled. Why had he chosen her, of all people? Why did danger seem to follow their every move? Why did his enemies believe she was the key to breaking him? The suspense grew unbearable, each encounter leaving her torn between fear and fascination. He wasn't just a stranger anymore, he was the storm she couldn't escape, the mystery that refused to let go. The climax came like a tidal wave. One night, as the city lights flickered and rain lashed against the windows, he finally revealed the depth of his plan. Wealth hidden in places no one dared to look, allies in the most unexpected corners, enemies who thought he was finished, never realizing he had been playing the long game all along. He wasn't broken. He wasn't powerless. He had been waiting for her. But just when it seemed like the pieces fit, a final twist cut deeper than either of them expected. Someone close, someone she thought she could trust, stepped out from the shadows. The betrayal was sharp, the truth darker than either of them could have imagined. And in that moment, she realized the kiss that had started it all wasn't just an escape. It was the beginning of a story that might never truly end. As the night settled into silence, she looked at him, this stranger who wanted to marry her, who had dragged her into a labyrinth of secrets and danger. Her heart trembled with both fear and something unexplainable, a pull she couldn't ignore. And when he whispered, "This is only the beginning," she knew he was right. Because some stories don't end neatly. They leave you questioning, wondering, waiting for the next twist. And this was one of them. Now, I'll leave you with this. If you were in her place, would you say yes? Or would you run from a stranger who just might hold your future in his hands? Think about it. Because the story isn't over, and maybe, just maybe, the next chapter belongs to you.